PGA.com, in association with the PGA of America, inspiring the future of the sport and the golfer in all of us, present the 101st PGA Championship from Bethpage Black in Farmingdale, New York. We have reached moving day at the 101st PGA Championship, and a light breeze blowing, blue skies on what is the new nicest day of the week. They have gotten better as the week has gone on. About 30 miles east of the Empire State Building. 63 degrees, the wind blowing from that northeast, and it's going to get a little bit stiffer before we get finished. We'll be discussing how that's going to affect scoring all afternoon. And scoring, very important, because everybody has their work cut out for them to try to catch Brooks Koepka. Our featured group this morning is on the 7th. And here's Torbjorn Olesen, who's playing with Rory McIlroy. Olesen for his birdie on the converted par 5, which is playing up a tee again. 488 yards. Rory McIlroy, the other player in the group. It was a pretty pedestrian start to his Saturday morning. 3 pars in a row. Brings him to the par 5 fourth. Michael Breed, this is where things got started.
Well, and this is what you've got to do if you're Rory McIlroy. You've got to get this putter to cooperate. And he does there, and it'll be fun to see if he can continue to have that success on the greens. He struggled with it on Thursday and again on Friday, though he got hot late in the round with it. Let's see if it can continue.
He missed his birdie putt here at 7, tapped in for par, and now Olesen for his par. So Torbjorn, the man from Denmark, has now made 7 pars in a row and absolutely no move on moving day. But on a golf course that averages over par, par is a bit of a move.
And I think those first 3 holes, we talk about holes 1 through 6, you've got to really take advantage of the golf course there. They're about to step in this little 7 through 12, which has been the hardest part of the golf course in the prior 2 days. So we'll see how they negotiate that.
The band is back together. Former Teacher of the Year, Michael Breed. I'm Brian Katrick, and we are thrilled to get a chance to join you and watch the Brooks Koepka show. There are still critics. I don't know what they're going to say now, because he's putting a whooping on these guys.
He is putting a whooping on them, and he wants to whoop even more. In his interview, he talked about how there are leaderboards all over the place. He's going to be looking at it. He's trying to stretch this lead into as big a lead as he possibly can. And if he gets this to where he's got 8-9 shot lead, Sunday's going to be a nice little round of golf for him.
Second largest lead in the history of major championship golf through 2 rounds. Lowest 36-hole total in the history of major championship golf, and we've been playing majors for just about 150 years.
101 in this championship, and this the 101st.
Yeah, there's that number from Brooks Koepka. You know, Gary Woodland put his share of this last year, just a couple months ago, down at Belle Reve. It got him a Saturday date with Brooks Koepka, who would go on to win the tournament. So we go to the par 3 8th here at the Black Course, Bethpage State Park. One of only 2 holes on the golf course with a penalty area.
And this whole location is all the way in the back of this 43-yard deep green. Has a very good line. Has an excellent line. Go in!
Just in time.
Give him that one.
He is a featured player. He knows when he's being featured. An eagle at 4 and that close to an eagle at 8. We haven't had an ace yet this week.
I love that you use the word yet.
Well, I mean,
implying that it's going to happen, which I love that. You know how I am with the positive.
Alongside the mayor of Positive Town. I am like the sheriff of the town next door. Now Torbjorn Olesen. Love the wind meter.
Trying to shape this from left to right. Begging for it. And it worked. Begging works.
Well, Torbjorn with a good shot, but McIlroy with a great one here at the 8th.
This is a great look from behind the green. Apex of that shot, 121 feet. Look at how softly that shot lands. And BK, I think what we're seeing too is the greens are firming up a little bit because that shot downhill into the wind, and as high as Rory hit it and it's still released out, tells you a bit about how these greens are going to firm up. They're going to get a little bit of wind today and this afternoon, and as those greens get a little firmer, I think it makes the golf course play, if you can believe it, just a little bit more challenging.
Well, we fully expect the golf course to actually get a little tougher. First of all, you've got the top half of the field here now after making the cut.
Yep.
Second of all, we talked about the history that Brooks Koepka has set now. You've got scoring records falling. You had a 63 from Brooks on Thursday. Adam Scott was actually on a 62 watch until he 3-putted at 17 yesterday. Kerry Haigh knows what he's got as far as the course itself. He knows how tough it can be, and I believe that he has had it reined in the first 2 days. But I think we're going to get to see the sleeves rolled up a little bit on the black course today.
You know, and I was out there this morning walking the back nine. The hole locations out there, they're kind of tucked. There's some really interesting hole locations out there, as I know you're well aware. But what also dawned on me is typical of the Kerry Haigh design, or setup rather. We're used to seeing those short drivable par fours. Obviously out here at Bethpage Black, there's no opportunity for that, and we're not seeing that. And that, I think, is another reason why scoring tends to be a little bit higher, with the possible exception of Brooks Koepka.
Koepka with a 7-shot lead and a 250 tee time this afternoon. He and Jordan Spieth will be the final pairing. Adam Scott, who was in the final pairing with Brooks in August at Bellerive, is also tied for second. Missed a 2-foot putt at 17.
And I think what's interesting too in that pairing is those two players, Brooks and Jordan, have been very interesting players to watch in the media, because as Rory finishes off for birdie at the par 3/8.
The deuce, by the way, that's the second lowest score individually.
By the way, have you ever seen a bad two? You know, when you make a birdie on a par 3, so great two, and I go, have you ever seen a bad one? Is there ever, like, there are bad threes?
Well, it's the second lowest score on any hole in the history of the game. You can only do one better.
But back to my point. So Brooks Koepka is a guy who just, for some reason, hasn't been able to get the respect that he feels and many feel he deserves. Jordan Spieth is another guy who is struggling to put his game together, and there are a lot of people that have basically said, you know what, Jordan is not, he's not back yet, and I don't expect Jordan to have a great weekend, and certainly I don't expect him to have a great Saturday. Curious to your thoughts on that.
Well, as we will explore later on this afternoon, Saturday has been the worst day for Jordan this last year and a half. He has been better than his season average for 2 days. The reason why you have a season average is generally things sway back the other direction. So everything's pointing to Jordan having a rough Saturday. We'll see if he can rise to that challenge. Olesen for birdie.
You're up on the back ledge there of this two-tiered green, and it kind of feels like it's a lot faster, kind of with the property going away from you. You would think that that would have a lot more speed to it, but obviously it doesn't.
Your thoughts on Spieth, I think, one of the most interesting parts of the game the way it is right now, especially with the increased attention with the gambling. All of the numbers point to Spieth having a rough day.
Yeah.
But your heart doesn't, and we're going to get to watch it.
Well,
we'll see.
You start talking about heart. That's a guy who's got tremendous heart. He's got that heart of a champion. He's coming off of what was, I think, 4 of his most consistent rounds of golf, even though he shot 71 on Sunday on his home course, we'll call it, last week. You kind of look for, is this some improvement as we take a peek at this ninth hole. Par 4 today. Playing 462 yards. Those bunkers, that bunker down the left-hand side, we've seen some players just take it right over it. 283 to carry that. If you're not going to take that on, well, then you're going to play to the right of that with a little draw, and that right side of the fairway is a very good spot to be, as this hole location is 5 paces from the left edge and 11 on. Many greens here at this A.W. Tillinghast design, Bethpage Black, are just circular in nature, which is, BK, not like an A.W. Tillinghast golf course. We're typically used to seeing some fingers coming out of the, you know, like the 14th green to me is a Tillinghast style green.
Torbjorn, her.
Harry Diamond telling Rory, you can absolutely hit it over that bunker. Kevin Tway just did. He's got some helping wind and a carry of just over 280 yards. Right over the middle finger of that bunker. Safety first, though, Michael.
Well, he likes that shot shape right to left, and as long as it's turning to the left, there should not be any harm in that shot. And the farther you go into that, the flatter the lie is. If you lay back shy of that, you now start dealing with some uphill and some side hill where the ball's above your feet.
Not to sell Torbjorn Olesen short. He is no slouch himself in the driver distance category.
Well, we've watched this guy through the years. Many people who are watching our featured group coverage are not familiar with Torbjorn. A wonderfully powerful golf swing.
There's room for that.
And it may kick a little left for him, too. You can see how it releases. But he's quite a ways back from Rory McIlroy.
Well, these guys not showing off the muscles just yet. Rory's only 12 off the lead.